Cam McGuire back with you here on the Steelheads Hockey Show, brought to you by New Belgium Brewing Mountain Time Premium Lager, as Idaho getting ready to open up a 4-game series tonight from State Line, Nevada, against the Tahoe Night Monsters inside the Tahoe Blue Event Center. Alongside Boise native Steelheads forward CJ Walker. We'll get into your return to the lineup, be your 5th game back tonight after missing 24. It was quite a while, and we'll talk about how hard it was to sit out. But first off, traveled here from Boise yesterday, an early morning and an early arrival here into Nevada. How was your travel day?
Oh, it wasn't bad, like you said, early morning, but we, going to, where do we go? LAX, yeah, to Reno, then bus to Tahoe. It was a long day, I woke up at like 3 a.m., so just glad to be here and get going. And, it was nice that we had that skate that day, honestly, just because the elevation is a big kicker for a lot of guys, especially me. So if we can get at least a couple skates in, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, you talk about the elevation change. I still can't hear out of my left ear. It's been popped since we landed here yesterday at about 10 a.m. You got any remedies, maybe tricks along the way that you've learned that I should be taking note of today?
Well, Kaylee brings the oxygen, which really helps during the game. But honestly, there's not much you can do. Practice a couple days, get on the bike. There's really not much you can do. I'm kind of gassed just walking around here when I first get here. But, I noticed last time we played here at the very beginning of the season, you get accumulated. Just that first period is a little bit of a bagger. And then once you're into it, it gets better.
Yeah. What is that elevation like? Because you come from Boise over here to, let's essentially just call it Lake Tahoe, even though we're in quote-unquote State Line, Nevada. But, throughout your career, whether it be pro, college hockey, midget hockey, I'm sure you've played in some higher altitudes.
This is the highest.
Is it?
It is,
okay.
Yeah, because I played in Colorado Springs, Denver, and this is higher than all those. This is close to Colorado Springs. This is about 6,200 feet, but this is one of the largest elevations I've ever played in, to be honest with you. And you can feel it.
Yeah.
So it's a unique, team that they have here. Like they're playing in such high elevation, so when they go everywhere, I feel like they have a little bit of advantage. But, like I said, it takes just a sec to accumulate, and once that first game is under, we're all good to go. But, we're very fortunate that we practiced a couple times, had a pregame skate this morning, so I think the boys are ready to go.
Yeah. Once again here with forward CJ Walker, Steelheads getting ready to open up a 4-game series against the Night Monsters, opening face-off tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Let's talk a little bit about that maybe home ice advantage that they have here, because tied for third fewest in terms of regulation losses on their home building. But, you guys have been really good on the road this year. You kind of have been tied for third in regulation losses on the road, 16-9 overall on the road this season. What's allowed you guys, in your eyes, to be so successful away from Boise?
Yeah, you just hit home on it. We've been really good on the road. I feel like as a team, we just don't overthink. We come to the building and we just get a job done. Play 60 minutes. You don't have to worry too much about, pleasing, whether it be your fans or, that extra pressure of playing at home. You're away. You don't have much, nothing to lose mentality. So, like you mentioned, our record there, we're really good on the road. So these are 3 huge games for our group. So if we can, 4 huge games, sorry. Yeah, forgot about that. But 4 huge games for this group. And, if we can rally together and, get as much points out of this whole week as possible, it's going to be absolutely critical for us moving forward.
Well, I'm sure you'd love to rather be playing at home. You guys just wrapped up a 5-game homestand on Saturday night with a 3-game series sweep over Allen. 3 wins that were kind of done in different fashion a little bit. 7-0 on Wednesday, 1-0 on Friday, and then the offense came alive once again on Saturday night, 5-2. And, talking earlier tonight with head coach Everett Sheen, 3 really feel-good wins, weren't they?
Oh, unbelievable. That was an unbelievable effort, all 3 games by our group. Like you said, that 1-0 win, Allen played pretty well that night, but just so big for this group of guys to get our swagger, kind of get our, mojo back and going here. So coming off of those 3 games heading into this week too is such a key thing for this group moving forward. We, like I just mentioned, we have swagger. We're going to be, loose a little bit, if that makes sense, and ready to go.
Let's talk about you personally. This will be your 5th game back tonight after missing 24 straight with an injury. What'd you learn when you had to sit out with an injury? first pro season in Boise. Realistically, let's just call it your first pro year,
Yeah,
right? Last year
absolutely.
you played a little bit, but what'd you learn? What'd you take away? Because sometimes you get a different perspective when you're up in the stands watching.
Absolutely. Sitting up and watching so many games gives you, like you just said, a different perspective. And honestly, you can kind of learn from it because you don't see that when we're sitting on the bench. You don't see that part of the game. So you can take a lot of X's and O's, looking at the team, looking at the systems, whether it be, line systems, all that stuff. And, honestly, I learned. I was in the stands a little long, a little 24 games there. But honestly, it was a big learning experience being out. How can I contribute within the locker room, within the team, trying to fill part of the team. But, it's part of the sport. A lot of players go through it. Most players do. But, looking back at it, it actually helped me out, learning, all those systems, like I said, X's and O's, and taking all that stuff from the game, watching up top.
Well, I'm sure you would have much rather been on the ice during that stretch.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, wouldn't want to break my leg during the Florida series there. But, I'm so excited and humbled to be back with this group of guys. And like you just mentioned, coming off a 3-game heater, coming into Tahoe, we're fired up to go here.
Well, you come back in a key time, too, and heading into tonight's matchup and throughout the week here. Let's look first, heading into this evening, 10 games left on the regular season, 3 points back of that fourth and final playoff spot. Just 4 points back a third. This is essentially could be a make or break week with 4 games in 5 days. So what has the message been from the coaches to you guys, and what has the message been internally inside the room?
Absolutely. No, I'm glad you brought that up. It's a playoff game from here on out. Even pregame meeting, every single game counts so much. Even adding a team in this division, Tahoe, it just makes it that much tighter to make it, top 4 teams. So every game, especially this week, is just a must-win for us. So we know, what to expect, and all the boys know the job at hand, and we're going to go out there and, get it done.
Here with Boise native CJ Walker, opening face-off game 1 of a 4-game series with Idaho and Tahoe coming up at 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So let's look at this series a little bit, and from an individual aspect, you scored your first goal as a Steelhead right here in this building, and then oddly enough, you scored your first goal as a Steelhead in Boise against Tahoe, and you're going to do it, you did it against the goaltender who will be starting tonight, Jesper Vikman. So let's just kind of rewind the tape a little bit. First goal as a Steelhead, what was that like back in early October, or late October, early November here?
Oh, I can, picture it all in my head right now. White gives it to McEachern. McEachern throws it over, and I just kind of tap it in, But unbelievable experience, getting my first goal in this building. And like you just mentioned, getting another goal against Vikman at home. But, that was an experience that'll last a lifetime for me, that first goal. But, he's in net tonight, and get another one.
Yeah, I was going to say, make it 3 for 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Once again, Idaho forward CJ Walker. We'll continue the Steelheads Hockey Show, brought to you by New Belgium Brewing Mountain Time Premium Lager, next right here on KTIK The Ticket. Walks, appreciate the time. Best of luck. Have some fun tonight.
Hey, thanks, Cam. Appreciate you.